Hey all, John here, Bipbopboom. I'm going to try to do a quick one. This is, I got a VCLT package from Leo. Too much metal is barely enough. And, oh yeah, let's put the background music on. I should have started that. But he sent me a package a while ago. And it took a while to get through it all, and I just haven't had a lot of listening time. Let's start off with what we're listening to. I just pulled out a record I haven't heard in a while. This is Doctors of Madness, Sons of Survival, British punk band, 1978. And this is I mean, obviously people into punk are gonna know it, but this is kind of like a band that slipped through the cracks, and it's a really interesting record. It reminds me of the Stranglers mixed with a little bit of like that mid-era Hawkwind, like the Hawk Lords, and then classic British punk. But they have violin on this, and it's a really good record. You know, not every track is killer, but very British. Some of the songs are real stompers, but then some are just weird. Alright, so he sent me a big package. It took a while to go through a bunch of CDs. And let me start off. He sent a bunch of homemade CDs, which are great. I kept them in the car and we're playing them. And I have them, they're still in the car. CD 1, first off, Leo, this is the channel you need to subscribe to, is Too Much Metal is Barely Enough. And I only found Leo, I think he's been commenting and hanging around the VC for a while, but I've only found him a few months ago, and the guy's phenomenal. He's a good guy, and I know, you know, we always have to say the good things, but I really mean this. I think he's one of my favorites, and he's a true metalhead. Like a lot of people like me, I'll sit here, kind of critique the albums. I love them. I was a metalhead, but I'm not living and breathing metalhead these days. But he knows all his 80s metal, and he keeps going into the 90s when it got more obscure and I faded off, and he loves the extreme violent stuff and the dark, you know, she's just really good. But alright, so this isn't that prepared, but so anyway, he sent me, I think, 4 burned CDs. One was like a mix of all like biker tunes, or tunes about like motorcycles and racing down speedways. It was all like just the greatest hits, like really cool, like Anthrax, Judas Priest, maybe Agent Steel, I can't remember, but like all like great 80s stuff, and some of them I didn't have. And then there was one with steel as the theme, so all the songs had steel in it, which was great. And then he sent, which was maybe the best one, was Australian metal, because I only knew 2 of the bands, Heaven and Bengal Tigers. So I think maybe I only heard of 1 or 2 of the others, but it was all new to me, and it was a lot of fun. That was a really good disc to sample 80s metal. It was predominantly 80s from Australia. And it's not all good, but it was all good to me. But I mean, not every band was a great band, and we were listening in the car. My wife's like, she was around in the 80s, big metalhead, but she's like, yeah, you know, Australia didn't really have that many good metal bands, and it's pretty true. But she's a big fan of Australian punk and stuff, and Australia had their share of great bands. But metal was not a genre they shone in. But anyway, and the last one was Adelaide bands, which was more like punk and local bands and noise, you know, rock, whatever you want to call it, alternative, whatever, I call it local rock and local punk, and that was cool to listen to. But anyway, those were great comps. They're still in my car. I'll still rotate them around. Then he sent me some CDs. One was a band called Hellbound and Proud. It's more of a, I'd say, cowpunk, like country punk rock, or a lot of E minor kind of, I don't know what you call that, like I don't know, like punkabilly or something. Pretty cool. It's not necessarily my bag, but it was an enjoyable listen, and it was on Rat Booth Records. And I think it's brand new, 2017. So that was a fun listen. Then he sent me another disc, which is the Loving Tongue, and this one was really good. This one was really good. It's I think it was like 2008, 2009. I can't remember, but it's Australian band, and they don't sound like they look. This is real classic metal. A little Dio-esque, almost reminds me of Rhapsody without all the bombastic classical stuff. It reminded me a lot. Actually, it sounds like the Reunion Rainbow with Doogie White, I think his name, on vocals, Richie Blackmore. But it's a real good listen, and I think they cover Heaven and Hell on here. And I'll definitely bring this one into the car to keep on play it a few more times. Then I got a pile of 45s, or a few 45s. I got the Vaginors, or Vaginors, and punk band, noisy punk, primitive punk, real noisy. It's too noisy for me, but it reminds me of some of the bands I knew, like the local bands, like I would play with and be friends with, like in Boston. But not necessarily my bag. But this would be more up my wife's alley, you know. New punk, I don't really. I just can't. My memory is full, so it's hard to all the new bands. But it was really good. Alley Cat, and it was a split. Alley Cat and Axe Wielder, and I want to say they were both German. And I think this was probably the better track, the heavy metal one. But I like this Alley Cat. It was weird, like almost. Let's see if I remember. It was almost like a drum machine-y, like it was very almost a new wave version of hard rock, but it was pretty interesting. So that was cool, and it's on Gut Runner Records, and I am not sure of the year, but figure within the last like 3 or 4 years. That was cool. And then this one, which is fantastic, is what's it? Hydro Medusa, and it's a really nice 45 on Clarity Records. This is a new band, and usually I'm not always into new stuff, but this one was really good, and it took a couple listens, but now I'll pull this out regularly and just crank it. 2-song, the A-side, let's see if I remember, almost a little glam rocky in the chorus, heavy metal, but more than that, and really good. And it's got great organ keyboards at the end, like it sounds like Deep Purple. And the B-side, Eyes, sounds a little bit like early Alice Cooper singing over Black Sabbath a bit, but it goes into a total Radio Birdman like sound. And that's, I think they're probably based a little bit off Radio Birdman. At least I hear the influences. And this is another Adelaide band. And yeah, they got the 2 guitar keyboards. It's the same lineup as Radio Birdman. But this is a fantastic 45, and I'll definitely check out for other bands. And the cream of the crop of the 45s was this one, because this is from like 86, I think. And this is the Spunk Bubbles. And this is Metal Wench. And this is a true 80s 45, so this is fantastic. This is the stuff I live for. Never heard of it, on Waterfront Records. And it's kind of like a jokey, humorous metal band. A little punkish in there. Not as moshy as like SOD, but definitely throw it in that kind of crossover. But they're definitely 80s metal dudes. And it was Treat Me Good. It was the B-side, and Metal Wench. Great cover. Really fun, really great 45, and of the right era. You know, it's just perfect. And then the other one he sent me was this great record by the Meat Beaters, which is, I don't remember the year, let's say fairly recent, maybe 2013, but I'm not sure, 2009. This is like a modern day Cosmic Psycho. It's very Australian, but also reminds me a lot of all those Fistful of Metal comps from like the late 90s. maybe early 2000s, like the Turbo Negro, Electric Frankenstein and stuff. But it sounds like, this doesn't sound like Electric Frankenstein, but that heavy rock that was ruling the late 90s. But it sounds like the Cosmic Psychos, except meet Motorhead. Really good. And yeah, this is a great record. And it's even got the font of like the Crypt Records and that whole 90s era. And this is on Swashbuckling Hobo Records. So this was like a killer package, and it looked like it cost him like $30-something to send that all the way to America. So geez Louise, that is a generous package. Fantastic. And I just tell everyone to please subscribe to Leo. Check out his channel. You could start off with his first was it the 20 questions one was good, but the Celtic Frost one was fantastic, and he does a couple on Dutch. He's got a new one up on American metal, which I've yet to watch. And I don't know what else. If any of the punk rockers are listening, this is a song, man. I'll just get to the chorus. And this is Doctors of Madness. And you can turn it off now. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm just going to go to the chorus. That's just great. Cheers.